I, 29F, recently gave birth to my first child, a beautiful baby girl named Lily. My husband, 32M, and I have been over the moon, but our joy was ruined by an incident with my in-laws that I can't get over. For context, my mother-in-law, Karen, 58F, and father-in-law, Bob, 60M, have always been overbearing and intrusive, but my husband and I have tried to keep the peace. Throughout my pregnancy, Karen constantly criticized my choices, from my diet to my birth plan. She insisted on being in the delivery room, which I firmly declined. She threw a fit, claiming she had every right to be there as the grandmother, but I stood my ground. When I went into labor, my husband and I headed to the hospital. Everything was progressing normally until I was about to start pushing. That's when the door burst open and Karen and Bob barged in, having lied to the nurses to gain access. I was in the middle of a contraction, in immense pain, and suddenly had my in-laws in my face, shouting encouragement and trying to film the birth on their phones. I was mortified and enraged. I screamed at them to get out, but they refused, saying they had a right to be there. My husband tried to get them to leave, but they wouldn't budge. The nurses and the other hospital staff had to physically remove them from the room. This caused such a commotion that my labor stalled, and I ended up needing an emergency C-section due to the stress and delay they caused. After Lily was born, Karen and Bob were unapologetic. They actually had the nerve to post about the birth on social media, including pictures they took during the chaos without our consent. They announced her name and details before we had a chance to, and even worse, they shared a picture of me they clicked while I was in the delivery room earlier, before the emergency C-section, trying to push. I was pissed and heartbroken. This was supposed to be a private, special moment for my husband and me, and they completely violated that. I decided then and there that they wouldn't see Lily until they showed genuine remorse and apologized. When we got home from the hospital, they demanded to visit. I told them they were not welcome and explained why. Karen blew up, saying I was being cruel and to which denying them their rights as grandparents. My husband is supportive but torn because they are his parents. They've since started a smear campaign against me to the rest of the family, painting me as the villain who's keeping their grandchild away for no good reason. Now, I'm getting calls and messages from extended family, from husband's side, accusing me of being heartless and unforgiving. They say I should put it behind me for the sake of family harmony, but I can't. Also, my husband's two sisters are saying that if they were kind enough to forgive me after I threw a hissy fit and embarrassed and insulted them by getting them thrown out or the delivery room, then I should forgive them too. Every time I think about what they did, I get so angry and upset. I don't trust them, and I don't want them around my daughter until they truly understand and regret the pain they caused.
Comment 1. NTA as a mom, I just feel white-hot fury reading this post. Your husband needs to get his shit together and support you 100%. Any feelings he have should be talked out with people who aren't you, because you and the baby need to come first. You could have died. The baby could have died. They could have killed you and your child, and your husband is torn. Comment 2. NTA. What your in-laws did was completely disrespectful and invasive. They had no right to be in the delivery room, let alone film and post about it without your consent. You have every right to protect your peace and your daughter's privacy. Stand your ground. They need to understand the gravity of their actions before they can be a part of Lily's life. Comment 3. NTA. I would not try to use access to your daughter as a way to punish them. I don't think you are, but until they demonstrate that they have the requisite maturity to be near her, I wouldn't trust them. Lying to hospital staff to gain entrance to the delivery room is absolutely bullshit. If people want to put this behind them for the sake of family harmony, then your in-laws can act like grown-ups, take responsibility for their actions, and show that they're trying to improve. My wife and I are really struggling financially and moved in with my mom to help us get back on our feet. I know it hasn't been easy on her, but I just can't believe what she did. So my stepsister is getting married and wouldn't invite my mom, as her and her siblings hate her. My stepfather refused to attend without my mom, and it was a whole big thing. I think his kids thought he was going to cave because he was always a pushover with them, but he meant it and didn't go to the wedding. I'm sure it hurt him, but he comes from a pretty toxic patriarchy culture and he isn't going to openly show his emotions. My wife was upset on the day of the wedding as she believes kids should always come before your spouse and that his behavior is disgusting. I don't disagree, but it also isn't our business. My wife took some pictures of him the day of the wedding to show my stepsister that he wasn't sad enough, he was just hanging with my mom, and in one of the pictures he is laughing, but I find this extremely uncomfortable for a few reasons. It is creepy and invasive to spy on people and take their pictures. They aren't even properly dressed in some of them. Like in one I can very clearly see his D as he is just wearing his boxers, and no, he doesn't walk around the house like that. In another my mom appears to be wearing his shirt with nothing under it, so it is just weird. Also we are guests in their home. Well, his daughter sent him the pictures and said she was glad he had his whore to comfort him. He realized what my wife had done and blew up. He called us ungrateful leeches, called her a witch, and he threw our clothes all over his lawn. I'm furious. Living with them was such a great opportunity to rebuild financially and she just ruined it. I lost it and shouted last night that it is all her fault and what the duck did she think was going to happen. She is furious and says I had no right to speak to her like that regardless of what she did. Comment 1. NTA Clearly your wife invaded their privacy and as you stated it's none of your business. She had no right to interfere. Are you even close with your stepsister? I don't understand why she had to get in their business when it doesn't affect either of you. Maybe try to go back to your moms and stepdads and apologize, explain the situation, see if only you could stay with them and separate from your wife. Comment 2. Your stepdad is a good husband and it was super kind for your mom to let you guys move back in. I'm not a separate as an answer person, but I don't think I could stay with someone disrespecting my mother who has shown kindness during our time of need, especially not by violating her privacy. I would beg my mom and stepdad for forgiveness and leave my wife homeless by herself to reflect on being a goober. NTA. Comment 3. Dude. Go tell your mom and stepfather you had no idea of this before they, or anyone else did. Tell them you are going to file for divorce as soon as you can afford it, cross fingers they offer to help, and see if you can move back in with them, but not your wife. She can move in with your stepsister. You are planning to divorce her over this, right? Warning, don't be surprised if she and your stepsister does some stuff like this to you during the divorce. Good luck. I'm 15M, in family therapy with my parents and my sisters Alicia, 13F, and Kaylee, 12F. Therapy is pretty new and not going so well. We're not a close family. We have a lot of issues and I know we have extra stresses because Alicia has a lot of complex medical issues and she can't do everything Kaylee and I can. She needs a wheelchair sometimes, she's on lots of meds, but she can be fine sometimes too and can enjoy life. But she has limitations we don't. And my parents make me feel like they want me to be another adult and not one of their kids. They don't like me spending time with friends. They say I could be home, helping, taking care of my sisters or doing stuff at home for them. When I do go they can make me take one or both sisters. Get angry if Alicia can't join. If I'm forced to take one of my sisters, or both, I can't have fun. I get stuck making sure they're okay. Even birthday parties, like at places and not kid parties anymore, I can be forced to bring them when they're not invited and I get to watch them have fun. If I have fun at something and my sisters don't, then I get in trouble. Happened during our last field trips. I had a great time, Alicia had to leave early because she was sick, Kaylee had such a bad time. I told Grandpa I had a great time and my parents berated me for it. While Kaylee got to talk about how fun my best friend's birthday at the trampoline park was. And she didn't get into trouble for Alicia being jealous and missing out like I would. I got berated for not having fun though. For acting spoiled that I didn't have a good time. They get mad I don't buy my sister's birthday and Christmas gifts. They get mad that I get gifts from my best friend's parents. They get mad that I get invited to my best friend's family events as a friend for him to hang out with, and it's made clear my sisters aren't invited even if it's something they could be included in. My parents get annoyed when I confide in Grandpa. But they also get annoyed if I tell them how they make me feel. Alicia hates being left out, which I get. But I'm the only one my parents get angry with for it. Now we're in family therapy. My parents are using it to talk about how awful I am. They say I'm making life harder for everyone. They didn't expect me to say how things really are. But I did. After my parents said I act like a 5-year-old who doesn't like being the center of attention, I brought up in therapy how they treat me and how I feel like they take their frustration about Alicia requiring so much care out on me, how I'm held to a higher standard and they want me to be an adult and not a kid. I said they can't stand me having fun without my sisters or seeing me being the only one having fun, but almost like it when I'm the one not having fun. My parents got so pissed at me after the session and accused me of embarrassing them. I told them they just didn't want me to speak so openly in front of my sisters, which is why they include them. Comment 1. If I were you, I'd find a way to get out as soon as I turn 18, get all your social documents from your parents now so they can't withhold them from you later, and I'd find some place to stay, a friend or family member, or, if you're earning money, just move out. Your family is toxic and will 100% expect you to continue to be parent number 3 even after you become an adult and should be able to live your own life. Comment 2. Therapy is a judgment-free zone and the only place you can talk about the things you're not supposed to talk about. Next session, tell your therapist what they told you after. Then it won't be about how awful they think you are anymore. It'll be about how they can cope with being crappy parents and how it's affecting their kids. You're not the problem. Comment 3. NTA. You are supposed to say the truth in therapy, that's what it's for. This is exactly what you should be talking about and what they need to hear. Your parents sorely need the therapy, they are clearly not taking care of all 3 of you like they should and neglecting you somewhat. Next time, tell the therapist how they reacted. This is exactly what they need to work on, and if they keep punishing you for saying the truth, they are frankly sabotaging the therapy by breaking the necessary trust. My husband and I are slightly more well-off than my sister's family. Because of this, my parents do more for them than they do us. When it comes to gifts, my daughter, Maddie 7, get things from the dollar store, while my nephews get whole Lego sets, iPads and even Disney trips. If my sister needs babysitting, they will drop everything for her last minute. If I need it, I have to give them a 2 weeks heads up as well as proper payment. Because of this clear favoritism, my daughter doesn't have a good relationship with them. If you ask her about her grandparents, her mind automatically goes to my husband's parents because she forgets that she has 2 pairs. Earlier today, we having a rare meet-up with my parents. My daughter asked if she can go on the trampoline outside. My dad said no because it's for my nephews. My daughter begged, but dad still said no. Maddie then stomps away and said, "This is why I like other grandma and grandpa more." My parents looked at me expectantly, but I didn't do anything. I recently got off a call with my mom saying I should have told Maddie that was wrong to say. I told her, "What do you expect? She thinks you'll hate her and you'll do nothing to dispel those thoughts." She just got quiet for a bit, then said I still shouldn't let her say something like that to family, and hung up. My husband is on my side, but he also isn't a fan of my family, so I need an outside opinion. Edit. To make some of you feel better, we don't bring her around them often. She only sees them on holidays with the rest of our extended family. We were only visiting today to get something I was left in a will. As for babysitting, I have only asked twice in extreme emergencies and they said no. I have talked to them about this, but they say it's not favoritism, she just needs less help because we are better off. Update. Just got off the phone with my uncle. Apparently Dad called him ranting about how disrespectful we are. Apparently this all stems from me going to college. Dad said since I had to be all hoity-toity and go to college, I shouldn't need his help and I should be living the easy life. He also said I'm selfish for trying to take help away from those who need it. Not sure what to think about all that. He's never brought up having a problem with that before. I'm going to discuss this with the rest of the family because with the holidays approaching, I don't want to cut everybody else out to avoid them, so I'm going to ask how they feel about all this.
Comment 1. NTA for not punishing your daughter. But why do you force her to be around your parents when she clearly knows they favor her cousins? Why was she the one to point out the favoritism? As her parent, you should have been reprimanding your parents for their treatment of your child. Maddie deserves grandparents who appreciate her, and if she can't have that, she should at least have a mom who sticks up for her. Go low contact with your parents until they're ready to treat all their grandkids equally. OP comment. I've spoken to them several times and the excuse is always that it's because we make more money. As for why we still see them, it's mostly for holidays and special occasions when the whole extended family is around. We only visited today to take care of some legal stuff. As more Maddie, this is the first time she said anything negative about them.
Comment 2. NTA. Your daughter said something they don't like, and it's a direct result of what they do.
Your parents are more concerned about your daughter owing them respect, or what they consider respect, than they are about her preferring her other grandparents and feeling unloved. The favoritism of which your daughter is the victim is not acceptable and she should no longer be put in this situation. They wouldn't be allowed to see my daughter if they made such a difference between their grandchildren. This kind of injustice leaves its mark right up to adulthood and builds resentment between the kids.